Hello everybody, I'm Storm here. Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV Online Dawntrail. In the last episode, we finished up with the 7.2 patch content with the second wing of the Arcadian raid. Got that all finished up. And so, now we are starting with the first episode of the new 7.3 patch that was just released today. And so that brings with it a new MSQ and a second wing, the second wing of the Echoes of Vana'diel raid. So that is what we're going to be doing. I don't know if we'll be getting to anything else, but that is what the plan is, to do the new MSQ and the Alliance raid. So, like I've done before, what I wanted to do first, before we get into it, is take a little bit of time here, hopefully it is just going to be a little bit of time, and discuss my thoughts and opinions of the previous patch, the 7.2 patch. Because I do have some opinions there. Alright, so let's just start with the 7.2 MSQ. I thought that the MSQ was actually pretty good. I felt like a kind of return to form for some of the writing. It was tight, it was well paced, the characters were good, the new original Sphene character, immediately endearing, all around positive opinions of the MSQ. And the introduction of our new antagonists, Calyx, who we'll be dealing with probably here very shortly. And yeah. The new dungeon as part of the MSQ, pretty good. I would say, on par with the quality that we've seen out of the dungeon design for this expansion. Nothing really that special about the dungeon. I actually think that the 7.1 dungeon was more interesting from a mechanical perspective. But, 7.2 dungeon, the Underkeep, was perfectly fine. Same thing with the raid, not the raid, the trial, pretty solid trial, boss, pretty fun, so nothing to complain about there. The Arcadian raids, again, very well designed. I really enjoyed those fights, especially after doing them many times across multiple characters, because I have multiple characters that even still they didn't get stale or boring. So yeah, very well designed raid fights there. Now I don't do extremes or savages, so I can't speak to those. Also, I never really engaged with the cosmic exploration lifestyle stuff, because it's crafting and gathering, and I'm really not focused on crafting and gathering right now. I'm trying to get other things done, but I'll probably swing around and check it out at some point. So what that brings me to is the aspect of the patch that I wasn't as thrilled about. And that is the field operations area, Occult Crescent, Southhorn. Now, initially, I was really happy with it. I really liked the zone. The fates could probably stand to be tuned a little bit higher because some of them die way too fast. But the critical engagements were all fun. I really liked the theme, exploring the 5th Astral Era lore. So, great, no complaints about any of that. Had some initial issues with drop rates on the Atmas for the relics. But I think I was just having some RNG problems. It happens. It would be nice if they actually implemented a pity system to prevent you from going like 3+ hours without getting any drops, but I won't go off on that particular tangent. I've had much more success with other characters that I've run, so not as bad as it kind of initially felt, in my opinion. Where I ran into some issues was with the big capstone 48-man raid of that content, the Forked Tower Blood. That was just a disaster, in my opinion, completely. Oh man. So what I was expecting was like Bozja. I really enjoyed Bozja, and I was expecting a kind of capstone big critical engagement at the end of the zone, like Castrum Lactus Latore. What we ended up getting was something more akin to Delibrum Reginae, the Savage version of Delibrum Reginae. And, you know, that would be fine. You know, I'm not against engaging with rather challenging content. That's not my problem. My problem is, well, one, they implemented a 3-death hard limit, so that once you've died 3 times, you can't be revived anymore and you have to leave. Which, like, precludes, like, any attempts at pugging that content for progression at all. You have to basically form pre-made, pre-prepared groups to go into it. Okay, fine. But they implemented the raid in such a way that it was basically impossible for pre-made groups to actually get into it, because it's actually accessed from within the instanced zone, which is randomized when you go into it, so there's almost no way to control what Occult Crescent zone you go into. So trying to put together a big 48-man alliance to do it is essentially impossible, or at least it was. They are fixing that, or have fixed that. But, you know, at least initially, like, what were you thinking? Implementing a raid that is built to be, you know, that from an access point of view can only be accessed by pickup groups, but is designed in such a way to only be progressible by prearranged parties. So yeah, that was a bit of an issue. Also, you know, there should have also been a quote-unquote normal version that was more doable by pickup groups. But they didn't do that. And, you know, the translation during the live letter said the reason why they didn't was due to cost, which I don't know if that's a proper translation or anything like that, but, like, how in the world is that even possible? But, you know, I won't go off on that particular rant. About how Square Enix manages their most profitable and popular games, and they don't give them the resources that they need to do what they need to do, and this is a recurring theme. Because I'm kind of also salty about Final Fantasy XI. But again, that's a rant for another time, I guess. Because I go off for about 15-20 minutes about it if I had to. But, you know, that's my thoughts. The Fork Tower was kind of a swing and a miss. So basically the only thing that now the Occult Crescent is, at least for me, is just a grind to try to get my Atmas for my relics. And instead of having, you know, this big fun raid to do as part of it. So that's very disappointing. Very disappointing for this particular patch. We'll see what happens in 7.4 when they implement the next zone. See if they learn some lessons. Hopefully they do. And we get something better there. But right now, not too happy about it. Alright, that's enough discussing that for now. Let's go ahead and actually get to work on the new stuff. Alright, so it looks like the new MSQ starts in the back room. Yep, let's proceed to the back room. don't think anybody here is going to have anything new to say. Yeah. Alright, Shale, what do you got for us? If you have a moment, Ayame, Jude wants to take stock of the current crisis. Oblivion may be lacking the finer details in certain areas, so we'd like you to lend your perspective to the conversation. So this is going to be our recap, I'm guessing. As they tend to do with the patch MSQ, because it's been 4 months, so. Sorry to drag you into our meeting, but we need to get a better handle on the threats Alexandria is facing right now. Not at all. Much has happened since the state funeral, and a clearer idea of where things stand would be beneficial for us as well. First things first, then. Let's discuss the state of the machine malfunctions. Every single sector reported instances of sentries attacking citizens without provocation, and vehicles suddenly becoming unresponsive to controls. And while these malfunctions were resolved fairly quickly, they nevertheless resulted in a considerable number of injuries and deaths. But you haven't heard anything about new incidents since then, right? Right. No additional reports have been logged, as far as I know. That's the good news. The bad news is, I tried to take control of the soldiers when they started hurting people, but they wouldn't listen to me, even though I have the king's authority. Once things calmed down, I was able to make them give up their weapons, but if it happens again, I don't know if they'll ignore me like before. The King of Resolve's authority is about the highest there is. Who is this man that can override it with such impunity? Calyx. He lived in the age of the Storm Surge, as I did. Lest you forget, he was known for his advancements in electrope technology, and it was he who established preservation for the purpose of furthering his research. The wasting disease which afflicted him, however, was said to leave him scant years left to live. He must have chosen to undergo conversion into an endless that he might continue his efforts into the present day. Preservation's early goals seemed noble enough, exploring treatments for Levin sickness, designing Everkeep's core system, that sort of thing. Why harm the people he was ostensibly trying to help? I do not pretend to fully understand Calyx's motivations, only that he appeared incensed by what he saw as mankind's failings. He asserted that the strategy of adapting our species through generational succession was outdated, that evolution now requires us to forsake bodies of flesh in favor of eternal preservation. We've already seen how he's employed the simulant to convince Alexandrians that endless conversion is their only hope for survival. Eternal life is assured for the 5,000 who register their neo-regulators. This is merely one part of Calyx's greater plan. He wants the key to interdimensional fusion. With that relic in his possession, he will draw ether from the reflections and expand his efforts to create endless 1,000-fold. If we mean to foil Calyx's schemes, then our only option is to determine where he's hiding and put him down. Which, unfortunately, is easier said than done. I've been scouring the terminal we found in the depths of Everkeep, but failed to uncover even the slightest trace of his activities. Give me a little more time, though, and I'm sure I can sniff him out. I'll help you. While Guluja and Shale are working on that, I think I'm going to take a look around town. I want to make sure no new problems have cropped up, as well as search for any information that might lead us to Calyx. You're welcome to come along. Another malfunction could happen at any time, and I'd be glad to have some brawlers at my back. Sure thing. Count me in. Raha and the others are helping Oblivion patrol the other levels of the keep, so shall we see the streets of Solution 9? Sounds like a plan. Thanks, you two. I appreciate the company. I have to speak with the city's administrators about bringing in the Lands Guard. I want our soldiers around to protect those who are moving to Tuliolol. Alvino and Alice will be joining me for the meeting, so the three of us can cover that sector as soon as we're done. if I may, I'd like to join Ayame's group, if you'll have me. Sure. Welcome aboard. The more mouths to ask questions, the merrier, as long as you're aware of the dangers. Thank you. I'll do my best not to be a bird. I'm more worried about you, Geode. Don't do anything stupid. You change your tune once you get back with goods on Calyx, then the drinks are on you. Come on, let's continue this outside. Alright. Speak with Geode outside the Neon Stein. Alright. Here we are. Sorry, I was off in my own little world. Shall we get started? The people seem uneasy. They do, and can't say as I blame them. It was the Queen's fondest wish that her subjects remain shielded from the horrors of death, and so they were for the longest time. Then the moment of mortality once again becomes an unavoidable fact of life, they're greeted with an outbreak of bloody violence. Many are bound to give the endless alternatives serious consideration. Indeed, I do not blame them for that. It's only natural that such thoughts should come to mind. What I cannot forgive is the way Calyx wields fear and misery to manipulate people into making that choice. Oops. No one, not Calyx, nor anyone else, should dictate how I cope with the specter of death. As one who lived as Alexandrian, I wish to put the choices for this country's future back in the hands of its citizens. And you think we can handle that responsibility after everything you've seen of us? It is what I've seen that has convinced me you can. I woke 4 centuries later to find our people living and laughing beneath Alexandria's banner. Though surprised and bewildered, I was overjoyed to see it so. You all deserve to be happy. Well then, we'd best not let you down. Now, I suggest we move as a group. I don't know if or when a battle might find us. Oh, I believe someone came prepared for just such an eventuality. I see you're wearing a book. Is that the grimoire you retrieved from the old castle? Yes, my parents gifted it to me when I was a child. They were adamant that I should learn to protect the things important to me. I was fortunate enough to have a tutor in the arcane arts, so I lay claim to some small measure of skill. If that's the case, it might be better if we split into 2 groups after all. It would certainly be more efficient for information gathering. I guess that makes sense. The 2 of you can take the west side of the recreation zone then. Yami and I will take the east. Very well. We shall end our patrol in the plaza just past True View and await you there. Alright, Geode. Let's do the rounds then. We'll see what's what and chat to the people we meet along the way. Pay special attention to anyone who looks overwhelmed or overly excited. Hopefully that will earn us a tidbit or 2 we didn't know before. Is this a new tutorial? Yeah, this is a new tutorial in the follow system. Interesting. Alright, where are we headed? Oh, just in the local area. let's hit the little square here first. Discuss True View. Oh, the memories. I used to drink around here all the time. I made sure not to overdo it when I had work the next day, but once we were past the busy season, when the ladies weren't amenable to my company, well, you'd have to scrape me off the street outside in the morning or afternoon. The worst I ever got was on what should have been the worst day of my life, if only I could remember it. I was still wearing a regulator back then. It was also the day I first met Shale, although I guarantee she's forgotten it completely. Okay. Somber citizen. Are the sentries and air-wheelers safe to be around now? I just know it's going to happen again, and maybe next time I'll be the one who dies in a horrible accident. I need a neo-regulator. Becoming endless is the only way. Even Queen's Fiend said so. Alright, light-hearted citizen. What has me in such a fine mood, you ask? Well, I've just registered my new regulator. I was leery of becoming nothing but memories at first, but now that I've gone through with the registration, I've never felt more at ease. Also, once it was done, the regulator displayed the current numbers. Of the 5,000 slots available, over 3,800 have already been filled. So if you're still hesitant, you've not much time to make your mind up. Mark my words, friend. When there's only a few slots left, it's going to get very ugly. You don't say. Grieving citizen. Want to hear my story? While I appreciate you offering a sympathetic ear, there's not much to tell. If you must know, a good friend of mine died when those machines went crazy. His air-wheeler dropped right out of the sky and didn't survive the crash. Damn fool wasn't running a regulator. I know that's not so strange these days, but he never bothered with one. He was at peace with the idea of dying someday, and I thought I understood what that meant until it happened. Yummy. A word? I feel like there was a new factor in these stories we've heard, one we hadn't considered during our discussion with everyone in the back room. That fights are likely to break out over the neo-regulators? The fact that nearly 4,000 people have registered is worthy of its own report, but are you sure there wasn't anything else? That the victim of the violence wasn't wearing a regulator? Yes, that's it. The vast majority of residents have always worn regulators, so it's not a detail we normally think about. With the supply of souls cut off, though, more and more people have been going without them. We need to look into casualties from the recent attacks and check whether or not they were equipped with regulators. Let's ask around on the street over to the east. It was pretty chaotic at the time, but maybe we'll find eyewitnesses who can help us confirm if this was a pattern or not. Alright. We'll go ahead and work the streets. Unarmed sentry. Hello, how are you today? Please let me know if I may be of service. Citywide casualty data unavailable. Government officials are currently processing reports from all affected zones. Can you narrow it down to the recreation zone then? You must have some estimates on hand. Recalibrating parameters. Injured 87 individuals. Casualties 19 individuals. Casualties equipped with regulators, 0. So it does seem to be a pattern. Unsettled sanitation worker. You wish to know if the people who died in the machine rampage were wearing regulators? I'm sorry, but I was assigned to clearing away debris. I didn't see any of the deceased. No bodies were present by the time I arrived, so I assumed the ushers had already done their work. I do remember there being patches of white dust scattered around that were quite a chore to clean up, but nothing else worthy of mention. Yummy. I think it's time we rejoin Krylan's feed. I was half joking with my boast to Shale, but we may have stumbled upon something major here. We should share our findings and keep pursuing this avenue of inquiry. Didn't Kryl say to meet them in the plaza just outside of Trueview? Let's get going. Yeah, then there's that whole dusting thing. Oh, we have a talk spot here. It was my job. It was once my job to deliver goods by hover cargo. That's why I know a fair number of names and faces throughout the city. The little ones who jump for joy when I brought them packages, the old lady who'd always greet me with a smile. I'd hate for anything bad to happen to them. Kryl. I'll spin first. We finished our patrol as well. Did it not seem that more people wanted neo-regulators than before? So, essentially you're saying that the people who were killed by malfunctioning machines weren't wearing regulators? Well, the rumors are still tentative and only apply to that one zone. We don't know how they'll stack up against the overall data, but this is definitely more than a coincidence. I think it's safe to say that anyone who had removed their regulator was a priority target. Now that you mention it, the person I was treating for injuries wasn't wearing one either. But why? Why are they being targeted over everyone else? Based solely on lack of a neo-regulator, we cannot judge if a person has no desire to become endless, or they simply failed to acquire one of the limited devices. But those who wear no regulator at all... they have clearly rejected the old system of using souls to revive themselves. But another way, they have chosen to live their lives in the knowledge that death is an inevitability. Chances that such resolute people would wish to become endless are far lower, I would imagine. And so Calyx has chosen those least likely to accept his vision as victims to stoke fear and panic. There was no need to kill anyone. The way things were, the people were already fearful enough. He could have found 5,000 willing citizens without all this madness. A good point. Perhaps this sowing of terror is in service to another scheme, where he has some other need for the lives he's taken. What are the dust found at the various sites? Right, the sanitation worker story. She saw no bodies but mentioned piles of white dust. Dust but no bodies? Now, where have I heard that before? Do you recall when we went to save Aaronville from the sentries in the outskirts? That Usher Malachite told us much the same thing. When I arrived, I found no body, only a pile of dust, which the wind quickly scattered. Confused, I questioned the residents, but none knew what had become of it. Now, both stories speak of missing remains is suspicious enough, but the shared mention of this dust is too much to ignore. In that case, we should confirm if this substance was present at other sites, and attempt to ascertain its nature. Following this thread may lead us not only to an explanation for the missing bodies, but also the intent behind Calyx's murderous actions. Guluja. Ayami, we need your help. I've lost control over the soldiers in the residential area. They might be trying to hurt people again. Oblivion members are on their way now, but are you close enough to join them? Damn it, our new investigation will have to wait. Let's go.
Stay back! Stay away from me!
Leave him alone!
Good shot.
Are you all right?
What happened here?
A sentry walked into my apartment, even though I'd locked the door and everything. I managed to run, but the man who tried to save me.
No weapons, which is to be expected, considering all the sentries were meant to be disarmed. Yet it was ordered to attack all the same, even if that meant using its bare hands.
I'll leave matters here to you. I'm going to do a sweep of the surrounding area.
What about the body? No regulator.
Do you know anyone else in this sector who no longer wears a regulator?
Oh, I don't think I've seen Isadora and her boy with theirs recently.
Go to them, quickly!
I'll be fine. But Isadora's in bad shape. Mother! Mother, please!
Isadora! Oh, thank goodness. She wasn't struck anywhere vital.
I'm sorry. If only I'd gotten here sooner.
Everything will be all right. I promise to make your mother better.
Thank you, miss. Will she sleep like that forever?
No, not forever. She'll wake soon, I'm sure of it.
That's good to hear. Thank you for saving her.
Alright, and there's our title card. Alright. We got the dramatic music going. Sweet. She should recover in due course. I'm glad we arrived when we did. Milos. I was sick and couldn't move. My mother was always at my side, always keep me company, and I'm going to do the same for her. Alright. Oyakwe. Forgive me, I was reckless. You shouldn't have had to waste time tending my wounds as well. Did you see our other comrade back there? He stayed behind in the lobby, but I heard the sounds of fighting. I'm sorry, he must have fallen protecting the residents. Alright. I guess we'll take the creamy alpaca pasta. Spell speed? No. Yeah. Our comrade, you think he may have been struck down? If he is wounded or worse, I should go to him. Wait, please. It isn't safe, and you still need rest. Would you stay with Milos and watch over Isadora for me? Or Milos. We will tend to your friend. Thank you. Please be careful yourself. Alright. Let's go see what's going on. Kryl. Isadora is going to be alright then. I'm so glad. I just finished my administrations here. Our Oblivion comrade was beyond saving, I'm afraid. That brave soul, he gave his life to save another. He died protecting me. I don't understand why any of this is happening. The sentry was behaving normally, like any other, then all of a sudden it tried to kill me. Weapons or no, Callus commanded them to commit murder. Is it over? We came as soon as Wayakwe sent word. I'm sorry, by the time we arrived, it was already too late. And Geode could be in trouble too. Once we had this radius locked down, we need to find him. But why? Has something happened? Possibly. We're not sure what, but he stopped responding to our communications. We need to prioritize securing the residential sector, though, at least until we regain control over the sentries. Then we should search for Geode. I agree. Since most Oblivion members have sworn off regulators, if our theory holds true, then they could be prime targets for the next attack. Please do what you can to shepherd the residents to safety, but avoid the sentries at all costs. Oh, thanks. Here, take these communicators. We made modifications to them to prevent Callus from intercepting the signal, and have been using them to coordinate movements with allies in the vicinity. Wayakwe has one too, so I'll ask her to keep hailing Geode. Good luck and stay safe. Geode said he would sweep the surrounding area, so he shouldn't have ventured too far. Let's get going. Alright then. Sven? Please, Geode. Please be safe. You see no sign of Geode. Perhaps you should search further to the east. You see no sign of Geode. Wayakwe's voice crackles forth from the communicator. Geode, answer me. There's no response. Perhaps you should continue your search further to the east. Alright, further to the east. Well, given by the number of people gathered here with a cutscene, well, something's probably going to happen here. You see no sign of Geode. The neighboring residential radius would be the next logical place to look.
This is the only place left. Let them be safe.
Geode, are you there? Answer me, please!
I'm here. Sorry for the long silence. I've been busy.
Oh, you're alive! Thank the gods! Where are you now?
The radius next door. The lobby is secure. I'll scout the second floor. Then I'll join it.
I see.
That dust.
Dust? What are you talking about? What's happening?
They're not just collecting souls. They're draining the bodies of corporeal ether. The dust that we saw was all that was left of the victims. They must have modified the soul cells. Shit. Damn you!
You can't be here! You need to run, now!
A trap!
Well, that's no good.
Take care of the others, eh?
No sign of him so far. This way, maybe? Geode!
Well, that's no good.
A shame. I had hoped to leave here with at least one more cell's worth of ether. But seeing how eager you are to interfere, I shall cut this foray short.
Calyx. What could you possibly stand to gain from these atrocities?
Ether sufficient to generate 5,000 endless. How would you acquire it?
How would I?
Until I have the key, the reflections are closed to me. Thus do I make do with the sources at hand. 7% of Alexandria's current population will yield the energy to convert 5,000 into endless. With 11%, operations could continue unabated for 800 years. Our bodies are fated to decay sooner or later. These ones refuse the gift of eternal life, so what difference does it make if I return them to ether now? I will not waste time and resources on meaningless conflict. This unit cannot offer you worthwhile resistance. Instead, I pose a question. Would you hand over the key if I promised to halt my harvest?
You would only seek other victims.
It was foolish of me to even ask. I return to my work then. There is much to do if I must take the key by force.
I figured since they were bringing him along with us that, yeah, he wasn't long for it. Alright, Gryle. I can't. There are no words. Sveen? This pile of dust, these ashes, and the soul cell he left behind, was that his twisted way of returning Geode to us? Damn you, Calyx. Damn you and your careless cruelty. He was our friend. Even so, some might say every death was justified if it meant 5,000 endless could continue their immortal lives. And if a reflection stolen ether allowed for many more endless, why, that too would be a noble sacrifice for the greater good. Who could think that? Not I. Certainly not I. We know only too well there is naught noble in this sacrifice. We have to stop him. We have to find Calyx and put an end to this madness as soon as possible. And under no circumstances can we let the key fall into his possession, Ayame. It falls to us, we will thwart his plans here in Alexandria before he can terrorize innocents and reflections elsewhere. Alright. What's next? We should return to the back room. Shale and the others need to know what happened. Yes, I'll ask Wayakwe to meet us there as well. Wayakwe? I think it's probably the correct way to say that. Alright, and we're back to the back room.
Our dear Geode.
The soldiers. If only I'd been able to control them.
This isn't your fault, Gululja. The blame lies with Calyx, and with him alone. It's all so senseless. Why force his plans upon us when we're already happy, living our lives? What does he even think life is? I'll never forgive Calyx for doing this. Or myself for being powerless to stop him. Wait, where are you going? To clear my head. Don't worry, I won't do anything stupid.
Stay here and get some rest. I'll make sure Nostalgia stays out of trouble.
Thank you.
Things would have been far worse if you and Geode hadn't rushed in there. Many people are still alive because of you. And after adding what you discovered to the leads we've dug up, I'm hopeful we can determine where Calyx is hiding. But not right now. We need time before we can move on. Just a little time.
Oh, Geode.
It's basically an urn at this point. Alright. Well, there's a whole bunch of people here. Aaronville. I've spoken with Wuklamont. They have cut their meeting short to deal with the aftermath of this latest violence. Stola. I assume you know better by now, but I hope you're not planning to try anything alone. We are all here with you. Steve? I'm told the members tasked with keeping residents safe returned with the body of their comrade. They all risked so much. Graha. We made a swift patrol of the other levels and confirmed that Calyx had carried out a number of targeted attacks, all to harvest more ether, it seems. Jail. Dots. Gulja. I got back control of the sentries, probably around the same time Calyx left. I'm sorry, I couldn't stop him. Alright. Another comrade gone. Some days it's almost more than I can bear. Geode was... he was an older brother to Nostalgia and me. Shale knew him longer, though, and is surely taking it the hardest. And that's on top of what happened with Kafkiwa. Do you think you could check on her? See how she's doing? She's like to put on a brave face, if it's me or my sister. Apologies, my mind was elsewhere. I need to press on with the hunt for Calyx, but I can't seem to focus. I should be better than this, I know. Is there anything I can do? You can't help yourself, can you? Still, I appreciate the concern. Kafkiwa used to say the best thing to do with grief was to let it all out. So, I think I'll take myself over to Earth and Sky and say my goodbyes to Geode. Why don't you come along? I could use someone to blubber to if you have a shoulder to spare. Right then, let's get out of Everkeep for a bit. Yeah, with the people we got here, should have everything well in hand. Alright, Shale. It's a fair trek on foot, so I've arranged for a couple of air-wheelers. They've had their communication modules removed, so even Calyx shouldn't be able to seize control of them. Say the word and we'll set off. Let's go. Ready? We'll be flying close to the pylons, so follow my lead. These air-wheelers are Genult's babies. You won't find a smoother ride in all of Everkeep. For years now, I've been taking one out for a turn whenever I need to lighten my mood. Sometimes Jude would come along too, and we'd end up racing. That surprise you, our friendship always had a competitive edge. We'd often talk about how one day we'd fly our wheelers outside the dome. Almost there. Be sure the ground is clear before you touch down. Phew, that's helped clear my head a touch. You know, Yame, you might be the first person I've ridden with who wasn't an Oblivion recruit. As far as I remember, at least. The memories from my regular days aren't exactly reliable. Come on, let's head inside. Hopefully the way will be clear of pests today. Well, considering what's going on there, it looks like the way is not going to be clear of pests. Thanks. We can usually avoid such encounters, but sometimes they wander in and block the only path. Not that it slowed you down at all. Never seen you fight up close before, and the surveillance feed clearly didn't do it justice. Hopefully that keeps through clear for a while, shall we?
Whenever we lost a comrade, the three of us would come back here to reminisce. Me, Geode, and Kafkiwa. Will you raise a glass?
Sure.
Oh!
What are the two of you doing here?
I had a feeling you'd show up. Would you like to join us?
I suppose I could spare a moment.
Oh, so Crowd did get a glass. Cup. Mug.
They tell us Oblivion's founders disappeared some decades ago under mysterious circumstances. And it was Kafkiwa who revived our organization. You and Geode helped her with that, didn't you? Tell us more about it. You're keen to know too, right? What they were like back then. The mad things they got up to. That sort of thing.
Those were the days. It was actually right before the Reformation that I met Geode. I still wore a regulator then. I had recently lost someone close to me. And also quit a long stint as an adapter to work at a bar of all places. It paid me to sit with patrons and keep them company. So Geode came in one night. It wasn't long before we got into an argument. First-time customer, but tempers flared. And then one of us threw a punch.
You got into a fist fight? What were you even arguing about?
Damned if I know. We were deep in our cups. I think we were both just frustrated and angry at everything. By the end of it, we were both sprawled out in the street. Pair of drunken fools. Then this odd machine stopped to lecture us, scolding us for obstructing the foot traffic and not taking better care of ourselves.
I can't imagine you ever being in such a sorry state. The odd machine. That was Kafkiwa, I take it.
That it was. Once she was done upbraiding us for our unseemly behavior, she launched into a recruitment pitch. Kafkiwa explained that she wanted to protect the outside world from Zoralja's invasion, to keep him from bringing ruin to the place her beloved son lived. And if we were so intent on self-destruction, then perhaps we might consider risking our hides for a just cause. It was a lot to take in. I hadn't given much thought to what lay beyond the barrier, and learning that Kafkiwa herself was already dead was enough to make my head spin. But Geode and I were intrigued by her ideas, and wanted to see this future of hers come to pass.
Geode often spoke of it. He told me that meeting Kafkiwa was what first taught him the value of remembering people.
Like he was sharing a holy revelation.
Oh, but back then you hadn't yet taken on Oblivion's name, had you?
Is that so? I just assumed.
It hadn't been Kafkiwa's intention to carry on Oblivion's legacy, nor adopt the cause your parents championed. Not initially, at least. She wasn't even aware such an organized resistance existed. She did, however, suspect the presence of other dissidents, those who objected to resurrecting the memories of the dead in defiance of the natural order. In the hopes of identifying like-minded comrades, we began searching the core system for traces of unauthorized access. And that's how we found it. An anomalous sector in the back of the Neon Stein. According to Melancholy, the door to that mystery had remained firmly shut since she took over the business.
The back room.
The back room. We forced our way in, only to discover that the hideout had long been abandoned. Although the occupants were gone, the equipment they'd left behind contained records of a group calling itself Oblivion. After reading through their exploits and their vision for the future, we made the decision to carry on their work.
Thus were my parents' and Kafkiwa's hopes bound together.
And carried onward by Shale and Geode.
We could never have made it this far on our own, of course. Not without the strength of arms you and your friends provided. Losing comrades is a hard thing, but being here, thinking back on the moments we shared, I can see their smiles, hear their laughter. I feel their presence, and I know they're still with us. But these memories of mine are for me alone. Reminders of why I chose to do this, and why I'll stay the course. Right. Time we got back to work. Thank you, everyone.
No, it's me who should be thanking you. Though the pain is still deep, I don't feel like I'm drowning in it anymore. Let's get out there and put a stop to Calyx. For you, for me, and for everyone who's ever believed in Oblivion.
Alright, everybody's commiserating. Alright, Shale. I appreciate you helping me through this, and not only the grief, you've helped me see my comrades mean even more to me than I realized, which only fuels my determination. I'll be spending every waking moment working to bring Calyx to account for his crimes. I'll do my part, then you do yours. Oblivion needs you. Alright. Give him a spell speed, I guess. Alright, let's pick up the next quest. This time I went back to locating Calyx's lair. I have a new strategy in mind, but it remains to be seen if it will aid in narrowing down the possibilities. I'll ask Kyle for help. I want to re-examine the data, starting with that of her parents. After all, they were the first to break away from preservation and establish an organized resistance with Oblivion. There must be something in there that can point us to in the right direction. What are your plans, Ayame? Well, we're about to find out. Ayame, is that you? Apologize for calling suddenly. I've been making the rounds in the outskirts and cannot help but feel as though something is amiss. Might I ask you to join me? Your perspective would be most appreciated. It can wait until you've finished attending to Shale, of course. It seems your plans have been decided for you. Go on. I have others to speak with before I return to the back room. Alright, so we need to speak with Sphene in the outskirts. But we'll go ahead and end the episode here. And we will pick up there when we get back. So for now, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Go ahead, like, subscribe, and comment. And I will see you next time.